Well, you know what time it is.
Okay, so I restarted my sound. Aim high, is that better? Do I have sound? Awesome. Okay, awesome. All right, guys. Thank you for tuning in on this special live stream. How do I want to bring you guys up to speed here? You know what? Let me just go in it like this. Guys, with everything that's happened, I I need to take a hard look at myself and realize, am I doing the best that I could do for everybody, only focusing on automotive? And the hard truth is, when I looked at myself in the mirror, I think I'm falling short. There's a lot more that I could do, a lot more I should be doing. That being said, for me, everything needs to be blessed by God. If God is not at the center, then everything I do is meaningless. So, that being said, I really need to see how his hand is going to move for me in this particular season to decide if I should start a new stream. And this stream would be based around topics like today, and maybe a little bit going into what I'll talk about a little bit later in this video. Some of this is going to be me kind of remembering where I was on 9/11 when this all happened, and also calling out people that might have forgotten what happened during that time, and just kind of how far society has even started to slip now. So give me ones if everything looks good and sounds good. Give me ones. You guys are tuning in. Make sure you guys hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. Consider joining the channel. Awesome. Okay, so I'll start off with where I was during 9/11. I was working for a company up in the Twin Cities area. Yes, I live in Minnesota. So, up in the Twin Cities area, I was working for a warehouse, working for a plastic molding company, working in their warehouse. Two of my friends had left to go to college in South Dakota, Brookings, South Dakota. And when they went out to Brookings, I chose to stay working at that warehouse. Well, I had planned to go visit them. I had a few days off of work because I was on a rotating shift where I would work like Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Then I had off Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. So I decided I was going to go ahead and take the long break and go out and see my friends. I started driving out, didn't hear anything on the radio. I got out to Brookings. For me, that's about a 3-hour drive. I left fairly early in the morning. I think I left about between 6 and 7 o'clock. I left. We got out there. I met with one of my friends and we went to breakfast. While we were walking into breakfast, one of the waiters had said to us, "Did you know that one of the towers got hit by a plane?" And we're like, "No, you're joking. That wouldn't happen. No one would be dumb enough to do something like that." We sat down. They turned on all the TVs in the restaurant, so we were listening. And we had paid the bill and went back to his dorm room. We turned the TV on to watch the plane hit the second building. We also watched the plane that hit the Pentagon and later the one that got grounded in Pennsylvania that was going to turn around and hit the Capitol. At the time, they had thought that one was supposed to go to Minneapolis. I'll explain why they thought that here in just a little bit. Most people had forgotten that whole conversation because it was never brought up until later on, and then it was swept under the rug later. So, and this is why people that are willing to call things out need to be in this space. They need to be here. They need to be talking about things. Just going to give a quick shout out to Charlie and his family. Prayers go out to them. They are going through a very difficult season. But this is why we need people to start calling this stuff out. We can't let this continue any longer, guys. We can't let the left control what we see and what we hear. And if they have it their way, they're going to. And I've got my own theories on what we can expect in the next probably 48 to 72 hours on that, but I'm going to save that for the end of this video, guys. Let me check a few things. You guys are just tuning in to this live stream. Make sure you guys hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. I need to get my setup working here. Trying to get my live stream caught up so I can pay attention as I'm streaming as well, because I like to check the health of it and make sure everything's good for you guys. So, all right, let me get back into this. All right, guys. So when we got back there and we watched the rest of this unfold, pretty much the whole day was shot. They canceled all classes. They wouldn't let people leave dorm rooms, even though we did. When it came down to it, there was a lot of paranoia. We were barely getting any information or any news until that evening. I stayed for a day or two out there, and then I came back to go to work. And it was as the later part of the week proceeded, we found out that a lot of the pilots that hijacked the planes were part of a terrorist cell located in Minnesota and located in Minneapolis, St. Paul. They were extreme Muslims, and they had been working on this plan for a while. Now, later on we would find out there was warnings given to our government. They chose to ignore those warnings. And they never increased security in airports until after the situation happened. In my mind, huge L. When you don't take security risks serious, that's when bad things happen. And that's exactly what happened that day. Was they were warned about it in advance. They didn't do anything about it. Oreo, good to have you in here. I'm doing kind of a special live stream, Oreo. This one's not really automotive stuff. This is more of a 9/11 and remembering that day. I just kind of went into the topic of how I was out of state at the time, and I'm bringing up stuff on basically the terrorist training cell was located in Minnesota, in Minneapolis, St. Paul. From there, after they had gotten into the US, did their whole training camp thing, they went off to different parts of the country. I think one of them went to Florida, one was out in the California, Arizona area, and they took aviation classes and crewed aviation classes at best because they weren't planning on landing these planes. Their whole plan was to hijack them and crash them. And honestly, it was a huge for most of America. It really was. After this went down, Americans were scared. Unfortunately, our government acted like they always do. And this is why I have such untrust for our government. So let me get into it like this. Shortly after everything went sideways, what happened was they decided we're going to go ahead and create what they called the Patriot Act. This Patriot Act was nothing more than control in disguise. It gave them the ability to spy on Americans, listen to Americans' phone calls, and tap their phones without permission. This put us back for a very, very long time. And I would say, even to this day, today, we don't have some of those freedoms back. This is what happens when extreme things happen. People react emotionally. Government steps in and takes away our rights. And once they take them away, they never give them back, guys. Ever. So after the whole Patriot Act thing went completely sideways, they started doing their war to try to go after basically the person who took credit for it, which was Osama bin Laden. He took credit for the attack and decided that it was advantageous for him to be the center head figure. Let me give you a little background on this douchebag while I'm at it. This guy was a notorious, basically a criminal. And the US decided to use him earlier in the 80s. Their plan was they were going to train this guy, have him sneak in to enemy areas that we were trying to destabilize. When they did that, they basically created their own downfall. And what happened was we trained him, we turned him loose to go after our enemies. After what he saw we were going to do in the Middle East, he turned on us. And this snowballed big time. We lost control of that situation. We lost control of that region. The first Gulf War was a disaster. And the second Gulf War was done out of fear. This was nothing but a huge L for our government. Now, guys, I'm not doing this from notes. I'm not reading the screen. I'm talking directly to you guys. This is all off of memory. These are things I remembered as I was a kid, as information came out. Saved it up here so that maybe one day I could use it if I needed it. Well, apparently, after what happened yesterday, apparently I need to use it. So, double check a few things. Awesome. We got a good stream going. Awesome. Cool. Just double check and stream for you guys. All right. So give me ones if that all made sense to you guys so far. if you guys are following along. Ones if that made sense. All right. Cool. So yeah, this is how fear is weaponized and why I'm here today to warn people, don't be fearful over what happened to Charlie Kirk. Don't. Don't be afraid. Grieve, give your time that you need to give, but realize he was asking all of us to step up. He was asking all of us to start having the difficult conversations with the people that are not willing to be reasoned with. Unfortunately, these people are extremists. And they're on the left. Let's call it what it is. These are extremists on the left, and they are extremely violent. It has nothing to do with the guns. It has nothing to do with other than ideology that's been pushed on our general population through our schools and has brainwashed people into thinking that this is acceptable behavior, that we can act emotionally just because we feel a certain way. That isn't what the case is. Charlie was trying to confront that. And he was doing it through his faith and through his work. And this is where I'm trying to decide, guys, do I split this content and make a separate channel just for this stuff? Because honestly, I can't blend the automotive and this stuff together. I can't do it. It's not going to mesh well together. It's not going to work well together. I could try to rebrand the channel, but I don't know if that's the right move either. I do like working on cars. I do like spending my time with you guys on Sunday doing projects. Yes, I don't always get in close and show you guys every little nut and bolt, but some of it is I'm bringing you guys along for the ride. You guys get to enjoy as I work on projects. I show you a few things, talk to you about a few things. We even get into news. I do like that aspect of this channel. But for me to do what I hope that God is calling me to do, and only He will give me that answer, I can't do that on the same channel. I can't. It's not going to work. Give you guys comments down below if you guys kind of like what I'm talking about right now. If you guys would subscribe to that channel as well. It's something where I would probably link it in both descriptions. What I would do with that channel, though, guys, I would have my setup ready like every day when I got home from my main job. I would just go live, talk about news. Some of the stuff I would talk about is like the girl who got stabbed in the subway. It was tragic. It should have never happened. The guy should have been locked up. He was let loose by a leftist judge. And he bragged about stabbing her after he did it.
Oh, hell no!
This is the kind of stuff we can't allow to happen in the future. We have to do something about this. We have to stand up. We have to start calling these people out. We have to start showing their names everywhere. We need to start blasting these people that are doing this extreme stuff. They can't be allowed to continue, guys. I'll probably give more on that maybe tomorrow. If I decide to do another video tomorrow, I'll do that, kind of leading up to if we're going to launch a new channel. I'm going to talk to the people that I have behind the scenes and get more feedback before we decide to go that route. Awesome. We got 3 of you guys in here. Guys, consider hitting that like button. It helps push the content out, helps us to get out there more. The more people we can reach, the more we can start doing different kinds of content. And honestly, I would really like to get some feelers out on what you guys think about the second channel. aim high, speak the love and speak the truth in love. Yeah, honestly, that's what it would be about. That's exactly what it would be about. But let's take a few minutes right now. I want to say let's do a silent prayer right now for the people who lost their lives during 9/11. Let's just bow our heads and say a little prayer. All right. Thank you guys. So, a lot of people lost their lives on that day. Not only the people that were in the tower, but also firefighters, police, people that were rushing in to rescue people in the building. When the towers fell, they didn't have time to pull everyone out. A lot of people were lost on that day. I remember staying up that night, watching as they sifted through the rubble, pulling people out. Not all of them had made it. I can tell you in my life, I've seen way more body bags than I care to. My main job that I do to provide for my family, I have seen the worst accidents you will ever see on our roads. I've come across several severe accidents where the body bags are laying on the ground. I hate to think that I'm desensitized to this because it still affects me. And there's no way to ever feel good about that situation. There isn't. So as I watched that night and I watched everything kind of unfold, I realized I needed to remember those key things. You know, one of the people that were part of the terrorist cell that attacked us that day, one of their cousins or uncles was being held in a Minneapolis prison. So some people thought that that plane that grounded in Philadelphia, or I should say in Pennsylvania, a lot of people thought that plane was headed to Minneapolis because they thought that they were going to crash it there and destabilize the Midwest. Later on, they found out that really the plan was to crash it into the Capitol. At the time, the president wasn't there. Again, that raises a lot of, did they know that he wasn't there? Did he know that he had engagement at that time in a state far away from there? He was reading to a kindergarten class when he got the news. I even watched his reaction and looked for how he would react in that situation after being given that news. It took him about a minute and a half to regain his composure, and he kept on going like nothing had happened. Because he knew that was the wrong time to tell the country that we had been attacked. Now, I'm not giving this man very much credit, guys, because the Patriot Act was a straight up L on his part. And honestly, it was mostly pushed by Dick Cheney. Let's not beat around the bush. Literally. So after all of that went down, like I said, I came back, and for the probably the first month, things didn't quite feel right. Country felt kind of uneasy, unsafe. People were scared to go places. People were looking over their shoulder constantly. If it wasn't somebody that they knew for a very long time, they were not interacting with very many people. It was a different time. If this happened today, it would be spun in the news stories, it would be glamorized by certain groups. It would be agenda after agenda after agenda. Because honestly, that's what our country has fallen into. Our country has fallen into a state where the elite are the political elite. They control everything. They got their fingers on everything. They control the major news networks. This is why social media has taken off so much. This is why channels like YouTube, Rumble, Facebook, Instagram Live, this is why these things are taking off and the mainstream news is dying. It's because the mainstream news is still pushing agendas, still pushing their views onto us, thinking we should just take it. And this is a problem. This kind of talk gets you in a lot of trouble. Gets you banned off of sites. It gets you demonetized. It gets you put into basically the black hole of the media world. And these are the things I've been sitting on and not talking about because I knew what it meant. Honestly, after my views have kind of tapered off here on YouTube, it doesn't really matter what I do. It doesn't. Because either things are going to turn around and I'll speak the truth and God will bless it, or I'll get blackballed, shut down, and that'll be the end of it. But either way, I know that deep down, I did exactly what I was supposed to do. That I didn't back down when the challenge arose. I didn't cower, didn't turn my back. I stood my ground. And ultimately, that's worth more than any monetization that I could get off of this channel, or if we create another channel talking about this exact same stuff, guys. Honestly, it wouldn't matter either way to me if it was monetized or not. It really wouldn't. Because saying the truth means more than anything else. Okay, so after that month or so that we all kind of fidgeted around to try to get our bearings again, that's when the Patriot Act went into play. That's when they started pushing their agenda. That's when they started pushing us into the Gulf War. And I fight this to this day. For me, this was one of the big.
Stop the cap.
We went into Iraq because we were told weapons of mass destruction. None were found. None were found. But we went in there, and what did we do? We overthrew Saddam. We took out Saddam. We destabilized a country to install our own government, which ultimately, that whole thing failed. Guys, destabilizing a country doesn't work. Jay, good to have you in here. Destabilizing a country never works. It never has. It never will. We can't just overthrow a current regime and install our own regime. It doesn't work. It never has. Because eventually the people that are there want what they had, and they reinstall the same type of people that were ruling them in the first place. The weapons that they found there were not what They were not what we were told. They were after nuclear weapons. They honestly thought Iraq was close to creating a nuclear bomb. They were not. They were not. It was, that whole deal was done to destabilize Iraq so that we could essentially go after Iran, because Iran is the big figure there. Iran and Pakistan are the big ones there. And we wanted a stronghold in that area, so that's why it was done. But it was a failure. Aim High said it. Yes, we need to work on our own country. That's exactly it, guys. We got to work on our own problems. We can't be worrying about things so far away when we can't even protect our own people at home. When an assassin can take out somebody like that and completely upend everything, which happened yesterday. As much as we want to make the world better, as much as we want to have our bleeding hearts take care of the world, we can't. We can't do it if we can't take care of what we have at home. We can't do it when we're being taxed and lied to constantly by our leaders who are overseeing us. These people scream about the rich and the elite. They are the rich and the elite. Like I said, I'm going hard into the paint, guys. Give me some likes here. Hit me some likes. After that whole deal went down, we spent a long time in Iraq. And then the last administration decided we're going to completely upend that whole area. We're going to pull all of our people out immediately. And they didn't even take the time to properly evac our own citizens. That in itself is an act of treason. Was Biden ever called out for it? Nope. Why? Political elite were protecting him. The Democrat scum has done so much to destroy our country that it's ridiculous. And they're still doing it to this day. Amy said, I remember after when we were all proud of America and came together, why did we let others tear us apart again? That is a very good question. And here's what I would say. Once they passed the Patriot Act, they got what they wanted. So the political elite then wanted to sow discourse within our communities. They started catering to things that were detrimental to our society. They started having open borders. They started having sanctuary cities. We had problems with the Muslim community in Minnesota before the sanctuary city stuff got installed. It got installed after the second Iraq war, and it's only gotten worse. Only gotten worse. Sanctuary cities should not exist within the US. We should not be the world's bring everyone in. Not like that. We have channels for people to come in legally, and they should be using those channels. But they want to circumvent the law because these people don't care about the law. And I'm not just talking the Muslim community. I'm not just talking the Hispanic community. I'm talking about people from third world countries. These people grow up in a lawless society. They come here. They bring their lawless society here. This is why we're seeing these kind of attacks. This is why Trump went after all of the criminals immediately after getting in, because he knew there was going to be an explosion of rampant attacks on citizens. And he had to stop it. It was the only play that he could make to save lives in America, in American lives. As we start piecing these things together, we can trace this back much farther than the first Gulf War. We can go all the way back to World War I, guys. I can tie it back that far. Give me ones if you guys want me to rewind this all the way back to the First World War and how this all drug us into what is happening today. Give me ones if you guys want me to go back that far. Oreo wants a one. Do we got anybody else? Give you guys just a little bit here. Again, guys, you know that normally this is an automotive channel. I'm trying out something new. If you guys like it, please leave down in the comment that you guys would like me to create a new channel based around this kind of topics and kind of what's happening within the world that we just aren't seeing, that they don't talk about. Jay also a one. All right. So let's rewind in time, guys. The First World War was basically a family feud. When somebody got killed, it turned into a world war because everybody got drug into it. There were alliances. The family had split. And there were alliances throughout the entire world on both sides. This created the First World War. After that war had ended, Germany took the biggest hit out of all the other countries because of this war. Their people were starving. They were barely making it. They had heavy sanctions put on them. They couldn't get goods and services. Thus, they were willing to elect a person who promised them prosperity. I will not say his name because it's an instant demonetization here. Let's just call him Mr. H. Mr. H promised Germany a revitalization, a rejuvenation, and a revival of what they had before the First World War. That's why they fell for it. Now, the problem was there were people who seen what was going on. Bonhoeffer was one of them, and it costed him his life to try to take out Mr. H. But there were more than just him. The problem was because people were so scared and so fearful, threw everything away for it, which is what humans do. It's not good. Yeah, Oreo, I can't say the name here, but Mr. H, World War II. Thank you for not typing it in, because yeah, that can cause some problems here on the old YouTube side. It's kind of smoked my views now that I agreed to even go into this topic, guys. So the fact that you're still here, I really do appreciate it. So after World War II, Germany got split up. And they got split up into, I believe, 4 pieces. 3 or 4 pieces. I don't know for sure. Great Britain controlled the peace. We controlled the peace. Russia controlled the peace. And I can't remember who else controlled the peace. Yeah. Honestly, it was one of the most tragic things that ever happened in the world. It was the truest definition of a genocide. It was the truest definition of taking of life, needlessly taking of life. After all that went down, many of the Jewish community that were in Poland were killed. There were still Jewish people left, and some of them were gang members. They all grouped up together and decided that they should have their own country. This is how we got Israel. Now, I don't blame Israel for doing what they did. I don't. Because they needed to be able to be protected and be safe, especially after what just happened. What I don't like is the manipulation of the governments. Not ours, not theirs, not any of the other world leaders. I question governments because governments can become corrupt. And it doesn't take very much because power corrupts absolutely. And if you have absolute power, forget it. It's game over. Men are flawed. Men make mistakes. Men are greedy and selfish. I'm not going to lie about that. But many great things have been made because of it, and many bad things have happened because of it. But we look at it and go, well, we can't get rid of the men because, let's be honest, it's the good men who stand up against the bad that are the ones that protect the day. And they're the reason we have what we have today. They're the reason we have all this technology around us, how the internet is so easily accessed, how we can get facts and truth right to us on our phones. This is all because great men fought against evil men. You can't demonize all men because of a few bad ones. It's the same as us demonizing a few women because there's a few bad women. This is human nature, guys. Human nature. But the truth is, you have to be willing to confront the evil when you see it. Because the longer it's allowed to fester, the more it slides into sin. And sin is sticky. It gets sticky. It sticks to everything it touches, and it corrupts it. Which is why governments are so bad, because the corruption is so easily able to happen. Our founding fathers knew this, which is why George Washington only served 2 terms, and he stepped down. They were begging him to do a 3rd term, and he said no, because he knew that the longer that somebody was in there, the more they become a king, a monarch, and we don't want this. Aimhigh says, we all need to be responsible and not just believe media. Correct. We need to do our homework. Don't just trust what I say. Look it up. Your phone's at your fingertips. You can look this stuff up. I'm not saying anything that I haven't found online and verified myself. But don't just trust my word. Please don't. Yeah, Mr. Feeney was right. Web pages are created every second of the day. We have more information at our fingertips today than what anyone has had ever in history. But most people fail to use it. They fail to do their homework. Guys, most of the stuff I do on cars, The homework has already been done. It's all online. This is why I don't get too wrapped up in going really into the weeds on every single project. I'm bringing you guys along because it's what I enjoy to do. It's my hobby, my passion. It's what I like to do. It helps relax me. I can focus on a project and put my energy into it and make it better than what it was. But that's not good enough. And that's not enough, especially in this time, in this day and age. I need to be putting my talents towards something else as well. Something that truly gives back and wakes people up. And that's what Charlie was doing. That's honestly what he was doing. So guys, give me ones in the chat right now. Do you guys want me to create the second channel? Do you guys want me to create a channel that's going to go into the weeds on this stuff? It's going to be a whole different topic. I'm not even sure what I would call it. I guess Oreo says yes. Okay. Jay says yes. Awesome. All right, guys. I'll compile that and get with my producer, and we'll talk about it. Some of the names I came up with was At the Cross. Kind of stands for Head Wrench History. Peak name. Yeah, I didn't know how you guys thought about maybe At the Cross. Because it really does show that we are at a crossroads in America. We are at a crossroads in life. And if we don't push back against this, Head Wrench History sounds fire though. Yeah, I'll put that one on the list, and I'll talk to my producer on that one if we want to do Bad Wrench History. But it's also going to go into modern news topics, guys. So when things like that subway stabbing happens, guys, I'm going to get on here. I'm going to get on here. I'm going to give you guys all the information that I know at the time. Now, just know I do work a day job. So it's evenings when I go live. It won't be during the day. It's going to be evenings. But it's not just going to be the history. It's also going to be where we are currently and what we need to push back on. Honestly, right now, guys, I want to say this, but I got to wait until tomorrow. I got to wait until tomorrow because today is not the right day to say this. I want to call out everyone who is blaming Charlie for this incident. And I want to put out a call to action, but today's not that day. It's too close yet, guys. It's way too close. I can promise you after his service, I will be coming back on and I will be doing a call to action. And the call to action is going to be to start calling out everyone who decided to run him through the mud. Highlight their posts. Share it. Call them out on their lies. Because this is the only way we're going to change this system. This is the only way we're going to fix it. Is when we see a bad post, when we see somebody have a bad take, and they know it's bad and they're pushing their own agenda, we can't let it slide. Not anymore. No, we're done. People want to throw bullets at us, we're done. We're going to call you out. We're going to expose you. And you're going to face the retribution of your own mob. Because honestly, it's what you deserve. You want to come at people with bullets? Then be prepared to answer for those bullets. And it doesn't matter if you pulled the gun, or pulled the trigger, or if you hired someone else to pull it. And aim high is right. We need good men leading our communities, our churches, and our governments. Meaning that when we see these politicians doing the crap that they're doing, guess what? Somebody needs to run and have their ass get voted out. They need to go. And I don't mean like a turkey sandwich that's just starting to mold where you're going to pick some of the crust off. No. They need to get thrown to the ground, lit on fire with a flame torch, and say, you're done, get the fuck out. Because that's what these people need. Career politicians create career corruption. Career corruption is what we have now. Jay, I'll give you that we need good women to actually start teaching our children the right history. Not this woke left agenda freaking bullshit. This is where the brainwashing's coming. I need to start the new channel. Guys, you know what? Fuck it. Fuck it. The shooters that are going out, popping everyone, guess what? Most of them are trans. Most of them are on hormone blockers and everything else. This is what's happening. We are taking what is supposed to be a boy, giving them high doses of estrogen, which means they're becoming violent. They can't control their emotions. Men are capable of extreme violence, good and bad. And we need the good in order to protect us from the bad. This is where most people get this whole situation wrong. We need the good to combat the bad. But when you start messing with the good ones and giving them drugs and all this other crap, this is why we're getting this. This is why this is happening. You want this shit to stop right now? Simple way of doing it. Take the kids off the drugs, teach them actual history, and actually show them how to be responsible citizens in this country. You could go to any community. You could even go to Chicago, change their schools, and in one generation, you will see a massive transformation in that city. Aim high is right. Vote for good representatives in the primaries. Guys, here's what most people don't realize. Everyone wants to vote on the main election day. And everyone says it's a choice between a douche and a turd. The reason it's a choice between a douche and a turd is because we allowed the douche and the turd to exist in there in the first place, because nobody votes in the primaries. The primaries decide who goes in. If we pay attention to who's in the primaries, we can change who is in the final vote. So it's not a choice between a douche and a turd. I have gone so hard on this. This is this could very well be one of my hardest streams, guys. And you've seen me go pretty hard on the EV stuff. But honestly, what's going on in our schools is disgusting. It really is. And it's going to take parents waking up, getting involved in the schools, getting involved in the education, getting involved in what the kids are actually learning, getting involved in their kids' lives. We're letting the schools raise our children. This is a massive mistake right now. Because who is in control of those schools? Many of the extreme leftists that are more than championing taking out Charlie yesterday. These are the people that need to be called out, put in front of social media, because honestly, they're not going to learn their lesson. And if the government isn't going to hold these people responsible, if the law isn't going to hold these people responsible, us as American citizens have to call them out and say, you guys do not get away with this. You guys said this. You guys went after somebody. Doesn't matter if you pulled the trigger. You're telling everyone that this is okay, and it's not. Not even close. Okay, Ivan, good to have you in here today. Yeah, normally this is an automotive channel, guys, but I'm quickly realizing that we can't turn the temperature down on this. We can't put this demon back in the box. We can't. They're going to keep coming for us. They're going to keep coming for our throats. They're not going to stop until every last Christian, American loving person is dead. They're not going to stop. And if we go back and go silent, guess what? They're just going to pick us off slowly or bleed us out. We can't battle evil with evil. I will say that. By no means do we go after these people. We don't. But we do call them out on the very same thing that they're using to push their agenda. We call them out by name. We don't hold back. Let the world see how evil and corrupt these people are. And guess what? Guys, here's something that you really ought to know. The evil hates light. And the minute you shine the light on somebody who's evil, guess what? It stops. It really does. As soon as an evil person's called out, they have to retreat back to the shadows if they want to stay evil. And that's just facts. I know this stream is a little low because, guys, you're viewing me on my automotive channel. I do this stuff for fun over here. I work on cars. We talk about the news on Sundays. It's all Sunday streams. But the more I think about this, the more I need to step out of the shadows. I need to start calling out the evils that are coming at us. And I can't do that on this channel. I'll read Aim High's comment here. Leftists say their name. Say their name of those who were killed needlessly. They praise criminals like George Floyd. We praise Christ and the good deeds of his followers. Okay, Ivan. Yep. Yeah, Sunday. We do our church on Saturdays. We are watching at home. That might change, though. If we decide to join a local church, we are looking into one. If we decide to join a local church, it might move back to Saturdays. I'll have to see how Sundays go, though. I want one day of rest with my family, so I will work out those details. Maybe it'll be go to church, come home, do my streams, but then Saturdays are my days off. Guys, no matter what, even if I create another channel, I'm going to take a day off. I do not want to burn out. And if I start streaming every day and doing this every single day, I'm going to burn out. And right now is not the time for a burnout. It isn't. We can't afford to lose any good men in the fight. Good to have you guys in here on this special day. We are remembering the people that we lost during 9/11, our firemen, our police, our rescue workers, people that were in the towers the day that the towers went down, people on the planes that were taken captive. We're remembering things that the past wants us to forget, such as terrorist cell that was operating in Minnesota. That the people who hijacked the planes had went to different parts of the country to take pilot lessons. And they didn't care how they were able to land the plane because they had no intention of landing in the first place. But yeah, so I left off at World War II and some of the stuff that was happening to Germany at the time. So we got into what was called the Cold War. The Cold War was basically an arms race between the US and Russia. At the time, it was actually the Soviet Union, not Russia. Russia is what they are now. Soviet Union is who we got in the arms race with. Then they had a situation that happened in Chernobyl. Russia had, or Soviet Union had a nuclear plant run away on them. This created a lot of instability in their country, to the point that Ronald Reagan was able to negotiate basically the returning of Germany, but still under occupation, meaning that we still were going to have soldiers there, but we were going to allow them to go back to a country. The only problem is that whole situation created us to gather a lot of nukes all over the world. And now we deal with the nuclear fallout of the nuclear bomb. Countries racing to get the nuclear bomb so that they can have a seat at the table. North Korea was one of those countries, guys. During the Vietnam War, we went in there to kind of help keep North Korea from achieving those goals. We went under there in the disguise of trying to protect South Korea, but really it was to try to keep North Korea from obtaining nuclear weapons. That war was the biggest failure in US history. It left a black eye on our military. It was a loss all the way around. And in the end, we pulled out and did not gain any ground and lost millions of lives. Later on, during the first Gulf War, we would lose a lot more lives. And then the second Gulf War, we'd lose even more. To this day, we have lost so much life in war that I think we have upped our weaponry so that we don't have to put boots on the ground. And the reason I say that is I look at all of the woke crap that went into our military during Obama and Joe Biden. Those two presidents allowed way too much woke crap in our military, and it really did weaken us. That being said, as we got into ending of the Vietnam War and then ultimately the first Gulf War, there was something that didn't sit well with me between the first Gulf War, the second Gulf War. Joe Biden is a 4 out of 10. No, he's a 1 out of 10. He was a puppet. And honestly, anybody who listened to him speak, he was a puppet. Somebody else controlled the strings, and it wasn't him. And he was an idiot back when he was in Congress. He's been an idiot his whole life. So for him to even try to act like he was saying anything intelligent during his administration, that's a laughable joke. We should have learned from Eisenhower's warning about military-industrial complex. Yes, we should have. Yep. We should have, and we failed to learn that. Joe Biden gave us strict rules for vehicles. Yep, he also did that. So did Obama. And the reason Obama did it is because he was part of the Cash for Clunkers scam, and he was the one who pushed all of the middle of the range vehicles that we could be driving and buying right now out of the industry. They got crushed because of him. And it was all to push the EV agendas. It was all to push this new EV agenda that they could use to control people. And he bought into General Motors. There's a reason they call it government motors. He bought in. They took away the hydrogen fuel cell that GM had already created. Guys, this was everything I was going to drop during my Cash for Clunkers video. Biden was Obama third term. Yeah, basically. Yeah. I honestly think that's the real mastermind here. Was he was the one pulling the strings behind the scenes. Yes, the new EV agenda will eventually kill the entire population. Because what we're doing to the earth to get those minerals, we are literally strip mining the earth, and we are producing 10 times the emissions to get what we need to produce those batteries. And we're going to run out of minerals before we run out of oil. Yep, and people don't learn from history, and that's where I say our schools are failing our kids. Is because they're not learning from history. If they were learning from history, this wouldn't happen. If we taught them the real history, if we pulled back the curtain and showed our actual youth what they need to learn, they would never repeat our mistakes. They would never even think about going down the path that we're on. Because they know it's a path of destruction. They know it will lead to their end if they go down that path. We have effectively cucked our future generations. They're either going to be slaves that are going to be milked to make money for the machine, or they're going to be slaves to another country. Yeah, if it goes past 2030 and we have not changed course, if enough good men at this point don't wake up and turn things around, and guys, I can create a channel and I can do my part, but it also means that we got to have the support to do it. We need the men to wake up and start pushing back. And I think right now America is at a turning point. Charlie might have been the first, but he will not be the last. I can promise you guys that. If it's 2030 and they don't change their minds, I don't know what's going to happen with my life. Yeah, it's a dark future for everyone, but guys, we should not be scared. Because honestly, we have all the techniques. We have all the tricks. We know everything they're going to do. All we have to do is do it. I know I'm asking to be a lightning rod and a conduit for this. I know that I'm putting myself directly in the same line as Charlie at some point, especially if I start doing open debates. But at some point, we have to take a stand. And we take a stand by having the conversations. We take a stand by calling out the people who are hurting our kids. We take a stand by calling out the politicians who are selling us out. We call out the judges who are letting criminals go that are killing us. It's a famous line once said, say my fucking name. That's what needs to happen here. When their name is blasted everywhere, these people will run and hide. Evil cannot stand in light. Can't happen. Yes, look for truth builders. Yep. People who are willing to say the truth, not going to hide, and not going to tell you their own agenda. Guys, I'm coming in this without an agenda. Honestly, I said to my wife, I said, I don't want to do this. And if it's something that is brought to me that I need to do, then I need to step up and take responsibility and do it. I do. But I don't ever want to do it for any other reason. I don't want motives and agendas behind it. Now, I get that everything costs money. It does. So we're going to do the best we can to survive on what we're making, and we're going to work to keep pushing this stuff forward. My producer's saying you don't want to do this. Incorrect. I'm giving you guys the wrong impression here. I want to do it for the right reasons. I don't want there to be anything other than the right purpose for this. And honestly, when you do something like this, you really need to do this with a heavy heart. It has to be something that you've given much thought to, much consideration. You don't go into this blindly. That's the wrong way to go. You can easily be led astray or distracted. And I don't want that to happen. Not now, not ever. If I'm going to do this, I know the direction and I know the purpose that it needs to be. I've already seen it. And I don't want that to be corrupted by evil. And I will need to stay vigilant about it constantly. That's what it means to do this with a heavy heart. It means you know you have a purpose to do. You know you have something to do. You know you can do it. So you do it. Jay says, if we all switch to EVs, we would be dead. Here's the thing. We switch to EVs. Everyone is forced to switch to EVs. Our power grid fails. We all starve. We can't get the goods and services that we need. And yes, we all die. Civilization dies under EV. It does. It cannot sustain itself. The numbers don't add up. We can't produce enough electricity for everyone to go EV. We can't. We're going to rob the power from our homes, which means people aren't going to have heat or AC. And it's a death sentence. You're not wrong on that, Jay, at all. Yeah, people are dying because of the autopilot stuff, which is why there was a law passed that they were supposed to disable all the autopilots. Apparently, Tesla is still trying to push their auto taxis. I don't know how they're able to do this. I really do need to look into this and figure out how they're even doing this, because I was pretty certain that there was a executive order signed that electric or that self-driving cars were to be disabled because they failed every metric of the crash test. But that is a topic for Sunday. We will save that one for Sunday. There will be enough EV auto self-driving crap that we can dive into that topic pretty heavy. Give me ones if that timeline made sense to you guys. If from World War I all the way up to the Gulf War makes sense. Oreo J gave me one. Awesome. All right, so now I want to bring you guys to current. This is where it's going to get a little darker and a little heavier here at the end. So after the Second Gulf War, we made a switch. We made a switch to stop getting physically involved into wars, and we became more of a military industrial complex, like Aim High was saying before. Military industrial complex means that we control companies like Lockheed Martin, Boeing, places that have big military contracts. Meaning we're going to make the world's weapons, people are going to buy our weapons, and that's how we're going to survive. And it was good enough to get us through until Ukraine. I would say at the point of Ukraine, we got drunk on our own power and we started shilling out money like it was candy. This was a horrible mistake. It pushed us so far into debt that we will not get out of that debt. Now, some of it is because we have switched our standard. We're no longer on a gold standard, guys. We're on an oil standard. And technically, we're not even on the oil standard anymore. We're on inflated money, meaning that the US can just print as much money as it wants and give it to whoever they want. The problem is it devalues the dollar every time they do it. They don't want to tell you this. This is being hid from you in the mainstream. They will not say it. So what this means is at some point, guys, the US dollar could potentially implode on itself. Our corrupt politicians are trying to siphon out whatever they possibly can to line their own bank accounts and stick it in investments. There's a reason why most politicians own multiple homes and multiple pieces of land and farms. This is why they own overseas stuff and why they have offshore accounts. This is how they're planning to survive that implosion. The rest of us are not. And we got to start calling them out. When politicians like AOC start doing when she starts babbling her crap, we got to start calling her out on it. How does a cocktail waitress that's not even making minimum wage now worth $33 million? And I think it might even be higher than that now. She's got a net worth in the millions. And you want to know how she did that? She learned how to do insider trading from Nancy Pelosi. It's this kind of talk that's going to get me in trouble. It's this kind of talk that's going to put a crosshair on my forehead. Because when I call out people like that, they're not going to take it lightly. Ilhan Omar, yeah. Yeah, that Sharia law corrupt bitch. Yeah, you damn right. Guys, I'll say it right now. There ain't no way I would take my family anywhere near Minneapolis, St. Paul. That place could burn to the damn ground, and I wouldn't shed a tear. It is filled with nothing but demons. And I can smell them from over 100 miles away. Don't even get me started on frickin' Tyrant Timmy. Yeah, and that's what you guys are going to hear me call him. He's Tyrant Timmy. Same douchebag that championed masks and shots in order for you to go back to work. Same douchebag who decided to cuck himself to be VP to Kamala Harris. You can't be a man if you're the man behind the woman. All right, guys. So let's get a final vote, and then me and my producer are gonna have a talk. Do we go ahead with the second channel? Do we focus on streams Monday through Friday in the evenings? Jay says, heck no, if Kamala took over as president, this would not have been a strong country. We wouldn't have a country. Roll that back. If Kamala would have won, we wouldn't have a country. That woman was drunk the night of the election. She thought for sure she had it in the bag because she thought she was corrupt enough to make it work. The problem was she didn't have the backing of the Obamas, so they didn't buy the votes off like they did for Joe Biden. Has everyone forgotten how all of a sudden we're just going to go ahead and shut down the polls? Guys, bullshit. Bullshit. If Kamala would have got in, we would have been cooked. Yeah, we would have been worse than Canada. Way worse than Canada. Yeah, same thing if Hillary would have got in too. Exact same thing. Guys, you know what? Heck with all the misogyny statements. Guys, we can't have a woman president, ever. Can't. The rest of the world will not respect the United States, and we are at a position where we need to be respected. That respect is earned by a certain level of threat. And we need men who are capable of holding that threat when other countries come knocking. And other countries are knocking, guys. They're knocking very loud. China is knocking really loud right now. If Kamala would have got in, we would have been sold to China overnight. Yeah, Christians would have been jailed under Harris for sure. And correct, a woman president is a sign that men are not standing up. The only way we have America first is we need to have good, godly men at the helm. Men that fear God. and understand that they have a responsibility and a duty. That's what they're there for. They're not there for their own political interest. They're not there to get rich. They're not there to form alliances and operate under a long term contract. That's not what they're there for. They're there to protect and serve the American people. That's why they're there. So far, Trump is that president. Now, if he all of a sudden changes and doesn't become that president, make no mistake, I don't hold loyalty to any party because that's how corruption starts. The minute we start holding loyalty to parties, that's when bad things happen. All we got to do is look at Ted Cruz. Started out as a really good man with a really good idea and really trying to do some good. He got crushed by the machine, took the money, and now he's not.
Stop.
That's what corruption does. Yes, I'm very happy with what Trump has done so far. He has done an amazing job. He has served our country to the best that he possibly could. He took a bullet for this country. Not many people can say that. And the ones that can say that sometimes can't because they're not here. And I'm not trying to make light of Charlie Kirk at all. Yes, we need to clean house in the GOP. We need to clean house in all up and down the board. Judges, House, Senate, all of them. We need to clean house. The only way we can clean house as citizens, guys, is when they start talking their leftist crap, when they start championing to having us shot and killed, we call them out by name on social media. We highlight their comments. We post it all over the internet. We shine that God light on top of them. Going, you want to do this? Here you go. Hope you like the attention. Yeah. All right, guys, give me some fire emojis in the chat if you guys really liked this stream today. Give me some fire chats if you guys really liked this. So guys, yeah, that's where we are led to today is basically Ukraine is still at war. Honestly, I don't know if we are going to be able to solve that war. We are also still fighting in the Middle East with Iran. So that is a volatile situation that I will try to keep an eye on and bring news to you guys. But yeah, this is not the kind of streams I can do on Bad Wrench Automotive. Can't. But I will take you guys as ideas of Bad Wrench history and at the cross, and I will talk to my producer. If you guys got any more, please put those down below right now real quick so that we have some ideas to kind of mow over about setting up a new stream. I'll give you guys a little bit to do that while I grab something to drink. Actually, I'm just gonna wait until I go in. I'll grab something to drink then. Okay, guys. I don't see a whole lot more comments, so we're going to go ahead and probably wrap this one up here, guys. This has been an awesome show. I want to say thank you guys for tuning in on this special Remembering 9/11 Day. I will also see about doing a stream tomorrow for you guys. I'll see what the topics are going to be, and I'll talk with my producer. We'll get some more ideas going. We got to figure out if we are going to do this channel. If we are, guys, please consider joining that second channel. Make sure I will list everything down below. Okay, Ivan, please check in. Everybody who checks in and who's within the top fans, usually I mod them up. So there's a chance you could get a mod real soon. And I just lost my chat, so I'm going to have to fix that for you guys tomorrow. Awesome. Guys, I want to say thank you for all your support. Continue hitting the like button. Hit that subscribe button if you haven't. Consider hitting the join button. Guys, I'll see if I can come back with a stream tomorrow. Otherwise, I will see you guys on Sunday.